My name is Bercik. Greetings from Slovakia, a small country in the heart of Europe. I am an assistant professor at the Department of Marketing and Trade at the Faculty of Economics and Management in Slovak University of Agriculture and Nitra. And I am also the director of the Laboratory of Consumer Studies at the same faculty and university. My research profile is focused on consumer neuroscience, e-commerce marketing and business operations and merchandising. My team and I have prepared a paper on the effect of scent marketing on the emotions and preferences of Generation X. Before I start, I would like to mention the project that we were granted at our department, thanks to which we were able to carry out our primary research in this area. These are our national projects. First, Neurosmell, the use of consumer neuroscience and innovative research solutions in aromacology and its applications in productions, businesses and services. And second, the use of consumer neuroscience in implementations of aromacology in selected sectors of the economy. And also the international Erasmus Plus project, Neurosmartology, the implementations of consumer neuroscience and smart research solutions in aromacology. I would like to draw your attention to our Laboratory of Consumer Studies, which is unique in Central Europe. The laboratory consists of the main room and the control room. The main room serves for marketing, management and economics research using biometric and neuroimaging devices. And it consists of 4 parts, for example, simulated sales area, multi-function sensory table with an implicit feedback retrieval for examining the perceptions of products, and very important for our research, aroma diffuser for studying the impact of aromas on human perceptions and preferences. The main aim of the study and methods was to compare the effect of choosing aroma compounds for restaurants on the emotional feedback of a specific segment, Generation X, and also the explicit evaluations of their effect on choice of the particular food time. In order to be able to find out what aroma is associated with Generation X with cakes in cafe restaurants, we performed the association test. The task of respondents was to write the first words to come with the mind, the connections with the scent when looking at the photo of the desserts, to analyze these answers, and we use the branded tool Group Solver, which use elements of artificial intelligence to create clusters of the most common associations. The test in the online environment was answered by 300 respondents. The result was a sequence of the words that we assigned to each of the available aromas. For further testing in laboratory conditions, we choose 4 aromas: cheesecakes, salty caramel, coconut and banana. The testing of 4 aromas took place in laboratory conditions with 40 respondents. Testing consisted of in-depth conversations and measurement of emotional response using 16-channel mobile EEG and facial biometrics using face reading from nodus. During the testing, the respondents sat in special aroma box in which constant conditions were maintained in terms of air quality. During the testing, the air temperature, humidity, as well as CO2 levels were regularly checked and maintained at stable levels to ensure perfect laboratory conditions. The air humidity was from 31 to 40%. The air temperature was from 22 to 23 degrees of Celsius, and the CO2 levels were from 750 to 800 CO2 concentration ppm. Okay, here we can see that 159 women and 141 men under the age of 26 took part in the association test, and there is also the order of the words that the result of a group solver. In laboratory testing we decide to include the less typical scent than the already mentioned. For instead of chocolate we added the banana scent. In the bubbles of the right you can see the most common answers of respondents analyzed by the group solver tool. Now we can see the results of measurement in laboratory conditions. We focus on the valence, polarity of emotions. Valence means the polarity of emotions, which was recorded when smelling the tested aromas. As well, the average values shows the most positive response was with the smell of salty caramel. You can see the positive values, but the unconscious level, the best rated was the smell of coconut, and at the same time this smell evoked the highest appetite. The positive results of the conscious level could be largely due to ability to quickly identify of type of aromas. We decided to test the differences of impressions through the Wilcoxon-Singh rank test. In the table we see areas where are statistically significant difference in aroma perceptions were confirmed with H1. There are the differences between salty caramel and banana, and also cheesecakes and coconut. Differences in the perceptions of coconut and banana were not identified in terms of valence, as well between cheesecakes and coconut. Here we see the recorded microemotions of 4 scents. For testing scents, the table shows that the most positive ones were recording for salty caramel, the least positive for banana. At the same time, we also see the detailed conscious feelings that the respondents express immediately after smelling the aromas. The high number of evaluations for scent as very unpleasant occurred in the case of coconut and the banana, because there is a part of the population does not like the smell of coconut, and on the contrary for some bananas seem to the artificial and atypical. Based on the results in lab conditions, we decide to use the sense of salty caramel using the aroma streamer device. The research took place in a restaurant in Brezno, the town in the central of Slovakia. With this experiment we wanted to verify the effect of the aroma with the best impact on emotions in real conditions. We monitored the period without aromatization and with aromatizations. The research took place from February to March. Here it should be noted that in March the results were significantly affected by the first wave of the pandemic, which began in Slovakia. The table shows that the sales of desserts for the first weeks without aromatization and with aromatization. The results also show that the sales of sweet foods even decreased by 2% after the applications of aroma, which however the probably caused by lower number of visits. Feedback was also collected in the restaurants, where almost 70% of people did not realize that the place is aromatized, and after being notified, 42% rated it as a very pleasant and 42% as a pleasant. As you can see, with inductive statistic, we conclude that there is a statistically significant difference in particular aroma evaluations, and we would that there is no statistically difference between men and women among generation X. And research results in laboratory conditions suggest to the optimal for sample 4 salty camera, which we then tested in real conditions. And the COVID pandemic in Slovak Republic has significant impact on the last week of the research. And during this period, we monitored the number of meals, cakes, where there was a decrease by 2%. The aroma did not affect the appetite of the customers, in the period with aromatization, customers were asked to fill a short questionnaire about their conscious perceptions of aromatizations in the premises that what they think about the selected aroma. And the results of the questionnaires pointed the fact that more than half of the customers did not perceive aromatization at consciousness level. We plan to continue this research in the future, but with few improvements. For example, taking into account the sale of the other products in the cafe, for example, drinks, sweet foods, long-term testing and deployment, creating system for monitoring sales, expanding aroma perception testing to the general populations, extensions of the sample of respondents, mood considerations, monitoring to the threshold of olfactory sensitivity of respondents. Thank you for your attention. In case of questions, please do not hesitate to contact me by email at jakub.bercik@uniac.sk.